I saw Tiger, Tiger saw me.
We are live. Welcome everyone for the most special episode of Max Rice tonight yet. We have America's voice of reason, Josh Dial. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Hey, that's Josh. Fuck the feds dial.
Voice of reason, as I said. If you guys were sleeping under a rock during this time, Josh was the star of Tiger King.
I guess I can give some background real quick for people who haven't seen Tiger King. I worked for Joseph Maldonado, also known as Joe Exotic. He ran for governor in the primary in Oklahoma in 2018. I was his campaign manager. Halfway through the campaign, one day his husband came in the office, in my office, about 5 feet from me, put a gun to his temple, and shot himself and killed himself. And, later on, Joe Exotic was arrested. Actually, a couple weeks after he lost his primary, he was arrested for murder for hire and for animal abuse charges. And through this whole process, Netflix had been filming even before he was arrested. So I became a big part of the documentary and was featured heavily in it. So if you haven't seen it,
I would say the protagonist. I would say you're the only person that it doesn't matter where you stand on animal issues, political issues, but you were the one person that kind of brought people together. Like, this is the one guy that makes sense and is in this crazy scenario. Right. So Tiger King, I want to ask you straight up, and it's a little personal question, but Tiger King made Netflix, the corporation, billions of dollars. Their stock went up, the market cap went up billions. They were a struggling company. Tiger King was probably one of the most popular shows in America, probably the world. Probably will be for a while. How much money have you been paid, and how much will you get paid from the Tiger King production?
So from Netflix, I have to date been paid a whopping nothing. One pair of earpods.
Okay. We're not saying no more fuck the feds. It's fuck Netflix from now on.
Yeah. No, I've not been given. Netflix has not given me any money whatsoever. I even reached out to Netflix personally just to see if they pay for my mental health care, because it's America. We're all libertarians. We're capitalists, and we understand. Well, a lot of us are capitalists, and we understand that the better, the higher that you're able to pay for care, the better care you're going to get. And unfortunately, I need a high quality of care after what I went through. So I even reached out to Netflix and asked if they pay for a year of counseling, medication therapy,
what was the response?
Medication. Fuck off. They didn't say that, but
did they even respond, or what did they respond?
They responded they will never ever do anything like that.
Was Netflix? So Netflix were they involved with the distribution, or were they involved in the filming at all?
The distribution, and the editing, I believe.
Wow. Was anyone paid, or who? Do you know if anyone else, any of your peers, were paid?
No, none of us were paid. None of us were paid a penny. Not a penny.
So the most watched show in maybe human history. None of the cast were paid. And did the directors at least get? So they basically made money off everyone, the directors, or how'd that work?
I'm assuming. I
don't want to get you in trouble with the directors, but
yeah. Well, also it'll piss me off when I start thinking about the fact that Netflix aired the video that I purposefully made a point not to watch of the moment that Travis killed himself. And they did not warn me. No one warned me. The directors, Netflix, nobody warned me they were going to put that in there. And I saw it. And ever since Tiger King came out and I saw that one scene, I have not been able to screw my head on properly. So if you follow me on social media, I'm all over the place. I'm cycling. I'm bipolar on top of having PTSD and anxiety. I am manic 1 minute and depressive the next minute. I'm cycling in intervals of minutes, not hours. And it really fucking sucks. I've had GoFundMe's put up. And people have had them taken down because, frankly, I tell the truth about Joe Exotic, and that's that he was not a real libertarian. He did not know what he was talking about. And if there was not a camera taking a picture or a video camera filming what was going on, he did not care, whether it was feeding the homeless or putting on Easter dinners or Christmas dinners or Easter egg hunts. Unless there was press releases and photos involved, Joe didn't care about it. And you know what? That's made a lot of people angry. And it got back to Joe. And from prison, Joe communicated to his followers to do what Joe actually has specialty in during the campaign, which is to get all the supporters to mass report accounts, so they'll get shut down just from the sheer amount of reports. And that's what happened. So I, started to try to raise some money, and I got a big roadblock put ahead.
Hey Josh, I want to talk about bullying for a long chunk of this interview, but real quick, from what I understand, Netflix re-edited the documentary as well. Do you think they kind of put Joe into positive life, or kind of like dismissed his crimes as kind of goofy eccentricities?
Yeah, I tend to think that because I know the director Eric, and he had told me that, and of course he could have been lying, but he told me that during the process of selling it to Netflix, of course Netflix is going to have their own editors in there, and that they took it in a direction that Eric, the original director, did not want to take it. So yes, I think Netflix took it, recut it up, and sensationalized it. It was supposed to be a documentary about the preservation and protection of the species of big cats on this earth, and to bring a spotlight on the fact that there's more tigers living in people's backyards and living rooms and in America alone than there are in all of the wild in the entire earth.
Wow. And I think, and I hate to say it, I think they kind of promoted it, where they kind of make people want to take part in that lifestyle and not protest against it. Was Carole Baskin really the bad guy, or was she did they kind of play that out?
No, I think they did Carole unfair, and people probably hate me for saying that, but I am, the kind of guy that steps back from a situation, looks at all angles, and makes a judgment based on what I see. And what I see is that people are damaging this woman's business. They're making it to where she cannot operate her business. So if they're libertarians and they're getting involved in this, they're breaking a nap, because what is it? Don't hurt people, don't take their stuff. Well, you're taking her stuff by shutting her business down, because the only evidence you have to say that she killed her husband is a show you watched on Netflix.
Where they had 1,000 hours and they edited it down to show her laughing and kind of looking crazy.
Exactly.
And I will say that I love that we have, reasonable doubt. And it is a shame, because it does seem like she killed her husband, but we got to give people respect. I don't know her. You don't know her. I'm not a police officer. And you just got to it is a shame. So it's like that's a good segue, because it seems like a lot of the reaction of you going from someone who's a good person, but not famous, to absolutely one of the most famous people in the world. There's been a lot of bullying, surprisingly.
Oh yeah. I mean, just today, I think today was an easy day. I only got 4 death threats and 3 F words. I'm not going to say it. I'm tired of saying it, because FAGGOT, whatever, however the assholes spell it whenever they spell it. Seems like that's the only word they're able to spell. But, yeah, I mean, I get death threats, and it's tough. But, I'm trying to stick through it. And I do appreciate, everyone that's supported me throughout, and just stick with me for just a little bit longer, guys. And I know I'll be able to get back on track and get on some campaigns and get back to what I love, because I think that's what I'm missing, is not being able to work on a campaign doing something that I love.
And send Josh some love. Send him some freaking money. He's owed money. And also send him some love, because Josh, I do think that it's just human nature. That, I do think that you were the voice of reason, and that millions of people love you. But when you love someone, or you kind of look up to someone on a TV level, you're not necessarily going to go out of your way to contact. But if you hate someone and you think they're a murderer, or they think they locked up your hero, Joe Exotic, those are the types that are going to be on your case all day, probably sock puppet accounts. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through that and not get the financial benefit.
And I cannot start working until my brain is my mental health is stable enough to be able to handle a job. So Dan Taxation is Theft Berman actually helped me out a lot. He helped me get to my counseling and my medication.
And I'm so sorry you went through that, Josh, because like I don't want to talk about the incident because like I agree that was messed up that Netflix played it, but like I'm so sorry that you went through that, and everyone watching that if you've seen the show, it's not something that you chose to be in that position, and it was a pure freak accident, and I'm sorry, and shame on anyone that's bullying.
Yeah, and you know that last, you know, I did the last episode, not the Joe McHale bullshit shit, but
He's an asshole.
Yeah, well, but the last actual episode, and it had my voiceover and it had my talk about the millions of dollars spent, and all that. That, and I felt like I'm a very reserved kind of person. I don't like to brag on myself, but I felt like that was one of the most eloquent things I've ever said in my life, and one of the most like truthful things about, you know, what about the Tigers? This was supposed to be about the Tigers, and I did that. I mean, I gave interviews they never even aired, where that's all I talked about is Tigers. So it just sucks that, you know, I did this out of my personal passion to want to preserve the species on this planet for future generations. And I got taken advantage of. I got scammed. I got screwed.
You're a political person. Do you think, but you're also a libertarian. Do you think there should be laws to protect reality stars? Because 90 Day Fiancé is a similar show that, shame on TLC, I think they're taking advantage, where there's like mail order brides that are not getting paid at all, people in absolute poverty without running water are being watched by millions of people. You have sponsors, you have a lot of money, and they're getting none. Do you think there should be legislation, or is it just capitalism? Like, should there be protection? I hate to get you in a libertarian spot.
The only time I will ever support a tax or a regulation is if it's at the municipal level, because that's the easiest way to affect change, because it's a hell of a lot easier to go knock 10,000 doors in a city, in a big city or normal size city, and get a council member or alderman, whichever state you live in, and you know, it's a lot easier to affect change that way. And you know, if the community agrees together they want to raise taxes or create regulations, I think that's great. However, I do not believe it's the state or the federal government's job to jump in.
Oh, okay, I'm not gonna let you off the hook. I'm getting better at this interviewing thing. So do you think at the municipal level, do you think Hollywood should pass some laws to protect, like, because I do think it's very predatory what they're doing.
Yeah, I do. I do, and it is predatory.
It's
but
contemptful, I get it, but like it's also predatory.
It's difficult because if you do leave it to the municipalities, you're going to do the thing like the film tax credit thing they have going on. For instance, you know, we're in California, it's you know, they tax you less, and certain states tax you less to film. Like Georgia, I think, has a super low film tax rate and compared to other states. So I'm afraid that something like that may happen. Hey, I'm the first guy to say I do not have an answer to everything, and some of my positions may not be libertarian, or they may not be, you know, acceptable to a lot of people.
Voice of reason, man.
I get accused of being on the fence, and it's not that I'm just always on the fence. It's just I can see more than one side of a coin.
But you're still with the Libertarian Party, like you still are a card-carrying Libertarian member, or
get it out for you.
Got to see some license and registration.
I got pulled over for an out tail light, and I about ready them to riot act because I hate cops. Sorry if anyone watching is a cop, but I hate getting pulled over.
I thought you liked municipalities. So you don't do is it the feds or the local police?
It's just the local police, but I just don't like police. There we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Libertarian member and of the Oklahoma party as well here in Oklahoma. So yes, I am a libertarian.
So are you voting for Joe Jorgensen?
Oh, absolutely. I love Spike Cohen. I'm actually going to some folks they're putting together Anarchon this weekend. graciously and very generously paid to fly me out there, put me up, and so I'm going to get to be there. And I actually am the warm up. Spike is the last guest, the last speaker. I'm right before Spike, so I've got like this like giant burden on my shoulders to be like Spike Cohen's warm up act, the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party of the United States of America.
Just don't get bit by a bat.
I know. Oh, that was the greatest thing to happen to libertarianism since Tiger King. Like, I don't know why that hasn't blown up further, and maybe it will. Oh my God, I can't believe that though.
What were the political stances of the people at the ranch? Like, was it more libertarian because it was like a lot of guns and drugs and rock and roll, or what was it like a split?
Their political stance was drugs, guns, and rock and roll. They had no political stance. They didn't.
Libertarian. Don't arrest
them. People didn't even know how to write and read.
Wow.
Yeah, no, most of them didn't even know how to write and read. And if they were able to put down the meth pipe or the whiskey bottle long enough to even think about it, then I'd probably say that they were probably, I don't know, Republicans.
Wow. And do you think Joe kind of like, so that so how was he finding? Because that kind of is concerning, just like on a justice level. Like, I believe in consent and everything, but it is kind of concerning that Joe was attracting uneducated younger people that had a dependency on drugs.
That had nowhere else to go, and therefore he knew that he could overwork them, underpay them, and manipulate them to do whatever they wanted. I mean, we worked 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, 14 hours a day. It was it was grueling. It was very grueling.
Wow. And so we're no snitches, because F the feds, but like what crimes were committed at the zoo?
Really the illegal stuff was like forging the documents when the cubs were born, and saying they were younger than they really were, because the USDA states that once they're at a certain age they can no longer be, humans can't interact with them. And if, say, there wasn't a baby to be available to pay to pet, then he would forge the documents so that baby may be, twice the age it's supposed to be to be interacted with. And he'd still have him doing it.
So one point that Joe made, and this is something a lot of guilty people say, so he could be being honest or he could just be trying to excuse it. He was saying that he wasn't as bad, like that he was doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. Do you agree with that assessment, or was it above and beyond?
No, because I think Carole keeps her books clean.
Yeah.
I think most zookeepers keep their books clean. Joe did not. Joe cooked his books like Betty Crocker. I'm telling you. I am telling you.
Yeah.
I got this dispenser that worked with me.
Freeze, put down. Not just
created my own strain called FTF, short for Fuck the Feds. And they hooked me up with a shit ton of it. So yes, you do see me on my lives smoking marijuana. It's just free weed, and honestly, it's not that good.
Whoa! As I'll keep saying, America's voice of reason. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better than nothing. And like talking about this stuff, especially like when I still need to get some things off my it's hard to think about like normal people things when you're worried your electric bill is going to get cut off, or you're worried that you're not going to be able to afford to see your counselor tomorrow. Like once I get past that, I know I'll be all right. Like I know I will. And like that's
good for you to say that, because in the end, it'll be okay. America loves you, and I'm glad that you're chugging along, because America, just think about the power it takes to be this composed going through all that. So I applaud you, and it's proof of your strength. Josh.
Yeah, all it takes is just a little shitty ass weed.
Just not to not get paid is the best way.
Yeah. They didn't even pay me anything, by the way, for this. They just gave me a bunch of it.
So that was the deal. Well, just wow, man. I'm so sorry about that. Man.
Well, if and when part 2 comes out, wink, wink.
We'll get you on the sequel. Come on. That's what you're telling.
I'll get them on the sequel. I ain't gonna let them fucking make billions off my tragedy again. Period.
Sorry, everything that you went through, and also it's kind of cool that you were part of pop culture. How does that feel? Is that like take me back or no going back?
I'm an introvert. That's why I'm a campaign manager and not a candidate. So I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Well, I'm glad. Josh, I will say that I'm glad. I'm so glad that you've used the platform that kind of fell on you, Wizard of Oz style, to highlight mental health and to highlight animal abuse and just so many great causes. And libertarian.
Yeah, well, and libertarianism is one that I talk about on every podcast, and I get that it's a world set free in our lifetime. But in the meantime, can we not bring a little liberty? We can work with Democrats on criminal justice reform and police reform, and we can work with Republicans on tax reform and reducing the size of the government. There are things we can do to help people. Yes, Thomas Jefferson famously said, being first duty of a politician is to get elected. But at the end of the day, I don't know what a lot of people do, are in the movement for, but I'm in the movement to help people. And if that means that, maybe I have to wait another 10 years before I really get fully in the drug war. If it means I have to wait 10 years for that in exchange for, decriminalizing marijuana across the country, I'm going to take it every time. Like, wake up, libertarians. Come on.
So you got to, where did that come from? Because you really do have a very pragmatist sensibility around. Is that something that was developed or something you were kind of born with? I really don't know. So you're so humble you don't know what to credit your humility to.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But that is the way to go. To not all or nothing and piecemeal. Yeah. And that's personally why I left the Libertarian Party. I was in it for like a year. Broke my card. They're going too crazy. What are your thoughts on the new Libertarian leadership? Joe Henchman, shout out.
Yep. Shout out to Joe.
Big shout out to Joe. The good Joe.
Yeah.
It sucks to that sound kind of cheesy, but it does. You already have made an impact on people's lives by just talking about mental health, so openly and in an honest way, not where you have to be ashamed of it.
In Oklahoma, for instance, I would have to threaten to kill myself or to kill someone else or try to kill myself or try to kill someone else in order to get immediate help. If I was in a crisis right now, I'd have to basically try to, commit a felony.
You have to be over the edge. You can't be on the edge.
Right. So, and it's not a libertarian position, I'm not saying free mental health for all, but I wouldn't fight it. I try to talk about LGBTQ issues and about domestic violence and about, the scene in the gay community.
So you really are. So you were a social activist before all of this.
I started my activism on September 11th, 2001, when I saw, the World Trade Centers fall, and that galvanized me to watch the news because it was a traumatic time, and I was 11 at the time, so. I was right at a certain age where that really galvanized me to see what was going on. And I turned the news on that night when I got home from school because I was wondering, all the military families, they were pulling their kids out of school, bodily lifting them up and picking them up and running out of school with them. It was a scary time, and I was scared. And my parents weren't political. They didn't know what was going on. So I turned on the news. Fox News actually is what I started out on. And then I started watching the news every day from the age of 11. I'm 31 now, and to this day, I have not ever missed a day where I have not watched or read the news. So I have been an activist because in keeping up with the news since 2001, September 11th, I have seen liberty by liberty crushed, destroyed, gone forever. The government, we already knew, a lot of us already knew they were spying on us, but now they just brazenly and openly don't care that we know that they're spying on us, and we continue to lose our individual liberties little by little every single day since September 11th, 2001. And that
legal. It's
at
legal.
the end of the day is why I am a libertarian. I'm tired, and it's another thing, that I talk about a lot that resonates with people, especially on the social issues, is they say, oh, well, Black Lives Matter, who cares? And I say, okay, well, it's Black Lives Matters now. What if it's the gays next? You don't care then, right? Well, what if it's the church people next? What if they go after the Christians next? Then you're going to start caring. Then they go after the people with guns. Then you're really going to care. So you gotta get people on this slippery slope narrative, because the government is a master of creating and getting people to fall down slippery slopes. Yeah,
Kind of goes what you said too about the slippery slope on like civil liberties. Is there anything from because you've done the rounds, people have been like trying to interview you everywhere. Is there anything you haven't mentioned so far about Tiger King?
no, not really. I mean, I think everyone's picked my brain just about as much as I can. I mean, if anyone has any questions, I don't know if
I do. I have a question about.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, just ask me a question. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So we're talking about Patriot Act and civil liberties. Do you think the federal government was spying?
Do I think the federal government was what?
Spying on Joe.
Yes, and actually, I do have a story. Yeah. So about a month and a half before Joe was arrested, right outside the gift shop, he had a radio transmitter, because we all use walkie-talkies. And I looked up one day coming out, and I don't know what caused me to look up, but I looked up and I saw this little round ball with like it was an antenna. And it was sitting on top of that radio box. And that's when it hit me. And that's when I already knew a month and a half before, I had a feeling that he was about to go down. And obviously I wasn't stupid and didn't say, hey, Joe, look at that. So we go like to the other side of the park, turn off the radios. And I say, Joe, I said, did you put an antenna on top of your, repeater box? He just eyes, what? I said, Joe, I said, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty good with tech. I'm pretty sure there is like an eavesdropping or spying device attached to your communicator, and people are listening to everything you are saying, Joe. And sure enough, he went out, he said, fuck. And he went over there, reached up there, pulled it down. Sure enough, that's exactly what it was.
Wow. And one thing that I've criticized about the government, and might agree on, is the use and reliance and kind of taking advantage of informants, snitches. I was kind of joking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Do you think it was kind of wrong how the government,
yes.
not saying Joe's innocent, but the way that they got him was kind of wrong?
Yes.
So a lot of snitches. They clearly looked it.
Yeah, I don't believe in entrapment. I never have. My grandmother actually taught me from a very early age that entrapment's one of the worst things a cop can do. And my grandmother's not a fuck the police person like I am. She respects the cops. She's an elderly woman.
Do you think that was entrapment, or was it because they played it off like they were doing the right thing and they cared about Carole, James, and
that Jeff Lowe had told them that if they asked Joe, if they had someone offer to have Joe kill, have Carole killed, that he would do it and he would hire them. And so the FBI took advantage of that information, sent someone with a wire in who was an FBI agent, and talked Joe into going ahead and purchasing his services. I think that is one of the most heinous things that the federal government can do.
And it could go wrong, because what if they don't catch him and they want to go through with the plot? I agree.
Right. And what happens? What happens to Joe's rights if he never was trying to hire someone to kill, and they come and
you gave him the idea, and you were telling him it was easy to get away with it. It was horrible.
So that's why I am for clemency, even though he's still continuing to try to ruin my life from prison. I do advocate for clemency, not pardon, only clemency. because I believe the charge regarding the FBI agent wearing the wire should be dropped because I do not believe in entrapment.
And what do you believe should happen to snitches? Should they get stitches or should they just be ostracized?
I've always said snitches get stitches and sometimes they end up in ditches. But that was before I became a libertarian, and now I have to follow the nap, so I dropped the ditches part.
Yeah, so we'll ostracize them. We won't talk to them.
Well, I actually got a Facebook ban because like I had like one really bad, like it was just like a 24-hour video, like live, it couldn't go live for 24 hours because I had this like it was like 10 people in one short interval, all threatening to come kill me.
Wow.
And so I made a live video. Y'all probably saw it. I was pretty upset. I said, "This is Oklahoma." I said, and we have a lovely little law that means you walk past my threshold uninvited, I have the legal right to blow your fucking brains out. So if y'all want to keep threatening me, come on down. But I warn you, if you threaten my family or you walk across the threshold of my door, I will blow your brains out. And I got banned for it, but it's the truth, and I will.
When did you get into guns? Because that was a big part of the show. When did you get into guns? Is that something you just grew up on, or like hobby later in life?
My biological dad's a redneck. I mean, I grew up hunting deer hunting, duck hunting, fishing, camping. Yeah, I'm a weird gay guy. This is what gay guys from Oklahoma are like. We hunt, we fish, we camp. You know, we go.
Well, I think for any class that isn't the majority, I think it's important to see that there's a spectrum of representation. So I think you talked about mental health. I think for the gay community, it's been great because you are, for better or for worse, different qualities that you don't necessarily.
You wouldn't. Well, and I think it helps people because they see people like me who, you know, honestly, I look like a straight guy. I talk like a straight guy unless I get sassy, you know. But, you know, people, you know, unless I tell someone or I'm, you know, holding hands with a guy in public, people think I'm straight. They just, you know, I say, you know, my partner, I say, well, what's her name? And, you know, being openly gay and, you know, having this persona, I don't do this on purpose. This is just who I am. I just happen to be a man who is attracted and who falls in love with other men. I'm not gay. I'm a man who happens to love men. And I think that people can see that who are in the closet and afraid to come out and see that you can be someone like me. You can be yourself. You can still hunt. You can still fish. You can still camp. You can still wear baggy ass shirts.
You can still get ripped off by Netflix.
Yeah, you get ripped off by Netflix. I mean, you know, you don't have to shave your beard. You don't have to shave your chest hair. You know, you don't have to thread your eyebrows. Be who you are. Just make sure that it is who you truly are so you can be happy. You don't want to be 65 years old and finally give in to your true nature of homosexuality.
Have you met anyone cool through this experience? Like anyone like I know we talked about Joe McHale, but like anyone like actually cool? Because he's not cool, in my opinion.
Like when I went to Chicago, I got to meet the owner of like the Billy Goat, and I got to meet a congresswoman and a couple.
Which one?
Do I?
Which congressperson did you meet?
I can't remember. I can't remember the name. I'm ashamed to say. And then a couple judges.
I hope you wash your hands after.
Yeah.
With Chicago politicians.
But that being said, no, not one single famous person has reached out to me.
We're going to get that.
Not one.
People.
Not one.
Well, I guess you are the famous person, so everyone that you meet they're.
Oh no, I mean like I'm trying to get on like Celebrity Rupaul Drag Race because I've seen the celebrities Rupaul had on his show this last season, and I'm telling you, I could work that stage 10 times better than those boys.
Someone tagged RuPaul in this because that's I would pay to see that. So RuPaul drag show is the #1 reality show. What would be #2? Provided that they pay you and that they're not going to deceptively edit. What would be the #2 reality show or competition that you'd want to go on?
Oh, I have immense respect for RuPaul. You know, he's a leader of our community, of my community.
Yeah.
And yes, you know, there's accusations that he can't really sing and he can't really do his own makeup or can't really do this, can't really do that. But that's just reality of the 21st century. So even if he can't, I don't care because he's using his platform, just like me, he's using his platform to advance what he believes in his heart is right, and I respect the hell out of that.
Same here. And what tame accusations in 2020 towards a celebrity? Usually it's like rape, murder, like said something just reprehensible, mean. So if the worst is that he can't dance, I think he's doing pretty good.
Well, he can dance. It's just the accusation. I think big thing was that RuPaul can't do his makeup. Oh my gosh, he's on live television and he needs help with his makeup. What? Oh my god!
He's done.
My life is over. I mean, give me a break. You go on TV. It's like obligatory. They do extra makeup. Give me a break.
Like, come on, people. Come on. America's voice of reason right there.
You know, I would just encourage everyone. We've got several races here in Oklahoma. So if you got a few bucks to spare, we've got a couple winnable races here in Oklahoma. Well, to be frank, I really am broke as shit. But for those of you that may have a little extra money after helping me out, if you're in Oklahoma, I want you to donate to the party. Let's continue to maintain ballot access. And I would like everyone else in their home states to contribute to their state parties. We have to maintain ballot access, and then what's left over from that, I'm sure everyone listening has $20.20 that they can go over to Jo Jorgensen's campaign and donate to her.
Like, stay strong, and thank you. And I hope that you understand that you really have used your 15 minutes away in the most positive way. I know you got the weed deal, but that's okay. But the subjects that you've talked about and the way that you've done them has just, like, it is. We probably don't even know how many lives you've probably saved or changed for the better. So,
I hope so.
Thank you for that, Josh, and keep at it.
Yeah.
We're excited to follow your progress and succeed. And it really sucks what you're going through. But thank you so much for this talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time. You're the freaking man. Support Josh. Give him money. Go on tour. Buy his weed. Do anything that you can. Thank you so much for your time. And in the end, if it's not okay, wait. In the end, things will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end. My favorite bumper sticker. I hope that this isn't the end for you. It's not the end because you're saying things aren't okay. But
yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. I appreciate you having me on.
And when you're in Chicago, hit me up.
Oh, for sure.
Have a good time. Well, yeah. Thank you so much, Max.
Yeah, you're welcome.